What we do here is go back.
So a while ago I did a recording on my faults, and then I didn't like it and deleted it and never redid it. So I figured I'd redo that now. At least some of the faults that I noticed. A couple of my more major ones. My biggest one, I think, is the fact that I have a sense of pride. There is a still ego attachment to being right. So there's a lot of points that when you question what I think, I'm going to kind of buckle down and defend my point and defend my stance. So this leads me to sometimes overanalyzing things that people say, where somebody might say something. I don't think that they particularly mean what they're saying, because in my head I'd say the same thing very differently. So I try and get them to say it like I would, and in trying to force them to say it like I would, it generally leads to like this whole other disagreement that had nothing to do with it in the beginning. So part of it with me is the fact that I'll try and spin things that people say to say it like I'd say it, and assume that what they're saying is not really what they're saying, because I feel like I'm right and you're wrong, and you shouldn't think like that, and you should think like I do. Another thing that I do is I don't listen to hear all the time. I do have a lot of times where I'll listen to respond, and in listening to respond, I end up not responding to what's actually being said. I'm actually going to find a clip and put it in for this, of that. We'll find a clip and put an example of that, where I was not listening to what was being said, so my response was to what I heard and what I was finishing out and saying for them, rather than letting them finish out and responding to what they're actually saying. I find this extremely annoying when other people do it, but I know that it's a fault of my own also. I also jump to conclusions. I jump to conclusions sometimes, and because I do not take the time to do research on everything, I will kind of just listen to people that I trust did the research and take what they say and go with it, without actually looking it up myself or looking further into it. It's something that I do preach is like stupid, but to me, in the sense that I do it, it's like me doing research, because I'm going to, at the very least, 3, maybe 4 sources who, if they're at least putting out the same type of information, they are giving it in their own spin. So granted, they are still all on the same side. There's only so much research in the sense that I will do on certain things, but with that, I will sometimes end up jumping to conclusions that aren't necessarily true, or jumping to having an opinion that if I did a little bit more research, I wouldn't necessarily have. And then the extent that I go to on doing research isn't exactly overly far, because it's a sourcing thing as to like how far back do you actually have to go to find the original. But that does become an issue in certain areas, which is part of why I stopped caring so much about even looking into certain things, because it's like the research that I'd have to do to actually verify if this is true, I do not feel like doing. I will take it as, alright, this could possibly be true. You show me your research and I'll go off that. Because randomly searching on your own, I've come to learn, is it doesn't work. you're talking to people, because be like, oh, just look it up. So you'll look up something, read something completely different from what they read. Why? Because the internet's going to skew everything in your direction. But you don't know what they exactly read, so to me it's better to provide a source for what you're doing. This is what I've actually tried to begin doing, where if I'm going to make a statement, I do have a source to back it up. At the least one. It's a crappy one, but I'll let somebody else be the judge. That is one thing that I do consider a fault of mine also. Overthinking is probably my biggest. Where I'll overthink in little areas that I don't need to overthink in. And then overthinking just leads me to generally making the wrong decision in the end. So balancing out overthinking with just not thinking, or with like when I need to think that much, can be difficult to me because I think deeply into a lot of things. Those are a couple. If I think of more, I'll probably just do another video. But I'll let this one rock for now. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Like, subscribe, comment. Love to hear feedback. Have a good one.